Good morning, everyone. Welcome to LisaBug Yoga by the Pool in September. And it's kind of raining leaves here, too, just in the last couple of minutes. So, we are going to enjoy a wonderful practice that will involve some work for the wrists and the ankles, hands, and feet. Those are areas that sometimes are far enough away from our eyes that we forget to pay attention to, and we lose flexibility in those joints over time. And then poses like downward facing dog and being on our hands and knees just don't feel comfortable because our range of motion has decreased. So we're going to spend a little bit of time working on those joints. I also had a request from Joyce Birdie for some core work today. So prepare to work those abs. Sounds good. So I have my block and strap, my blanket as usual, just as props and accessories. We're going to stand up to start. And if you feel a little tippy at home and you're having a hard time doing this and struggling to balance, you can also sit down into a chair for what we're going to start with. So we are going to take our right foot and turn it over so the top of your foot is facing the ground. And I want you to give just a little bit of gentle pressure down into the top of the foot. And I want you to think about when your fingertips are up there, if you look at a clock, they're pointing to 12 o'clock. And keep stretching the foot and then take your fingertips straight down to 6 o'clock and pull those fingertips back just gently. Now I'm feeling a stretch right across the top of my forearm. So I don't want you to make it too vigorous to where you feel any pain in that joint or in those muscles, just gently. And then release that stretch and we'll switch the foot. So turn it over to the top of the foot. I feel a pretty good stretch when I do this. It's nice to extend through those muscles. Take your left hand to 12 o'clock, gently pull those fingers back. And I'm feeling now that stretch right underneath the forearm into those muscles. Not feeling too much in the joint. And then take those fingertips down to 6 o'clock and gently press back. You might just notice maybe one hand is a little different than the other, or they're pretty comparable. And then release. Switch your feet again. So we're going to stretch the top of the right foot. Take both hands out. Go 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So when we first did this, we used the pressure of our other hand to help us to stretch. Now you're tightening the muscle on the top of the forearm to go to 12 o'clock, on the bottom of your forearm to go to 6 o'clock. So you're working those muscles while you're stretching. Let's do one more 12 o'clock, one more 6 o'clock, and then rest. Switch your feet. Don't you love doing two things at once? Okay, so now you're going to bring your hands forward and then turn your palms to face each other and go to 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on either side. So what's the difference? Well, we've turned our forearms a little bit, so the stretch might be just a little different since our palms are facing in. And this will help you to find this orientation of direction, because once we get down on our hands and knees and we do some cat and cow, we're going to play with 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, etc., 3 and 9 o'clock. All right, relax those arms. Switch your feet one more time to stretch the other side. Take your hands, spread your fingers open, and make a fist. Spread open and make a fist. And I want you to really put some energy into this, so it's not just floppy fingers. Spread them. Use those muscles in your fingers, and then grip. So I don't know about you guys, but over time, I'm losing a little bit of my grip strength. I try to open a jar, and it's like, wow. So I want you to tighten those muscles just like you're holding onto one of those little balls that you squeeze. We'll do one more. And then relax. Switch your feet the very last time to stretch the left foot. Make a gentle fist and roll your wrists around. So this is our last warm-up exercise for the wrists. Just a gentle fist position. Make a nice circular action. Then pause and reverse. Go the other direction. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, come down to all fours now. If you need some padding for your knees, you can bring that down with you as well. And we are going to take both hands to 12 o'clock. So we have the fingertips facing forward. Now, if you start to feel pain in your wrists, you can draw your shoulders, your whole body back a little bit so you don't have as much pressure onto your hands. And then we'll start to move through cat and cow. So drop the belly down, inhaling, and then exhale, round it up. So we'll start to warm up through the spine. We're just going to do 4 repetitions of cat and cow with the fingertips in 12 o'clock position. And one more time, inhaling cow, exhaling cat, come back to neutral. Now turn the hands out. So your right hand's going to go to 3 o'clock, your left hand will be at 9 o'clock. Inhale to cow, exhale to cat, 4 repetitions. And I just want you to notice the difference in the stretch in your wrists and into your forearms. If at any time this does not feel comfortable and is painful, you can go back to 12 o'clock. And one more. Back to neutral. Now, keeping the palms on the floor, spin the fingertips toward you so they are at 6 o'clock. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Wow, this is a big stretch this direction. So really feeling it along those forearm muscles. Again, if that is too painful for you, come back to 3 and 9 o'clock. And one more time. And then you're going to turn your hands all the way back around past 12 o'clock so your fingertips face each other. And inhale, last time, 4 repetitions. And exhale, round it up. With the breath. And one more time. And come back to neutral. Now we're going to do a modification of toe squat. So tuck your toes underneath, another stretch for the feet, and then turn the tops of your hands down to the floor so your fingertips are at 6 o'clock, but your palms are facing up, and then sit your heels, your hips back towards your heels. You might be like, this is a no-go. It might be too stressful in your feet or in your wrists. So if it's the wrists, you can bring your hands back and face the palms down. If it's in your feet, you can come back up and turn the tops of your feet over back towards the floor. And we'll just hold this a couple of breaths. One more time. And then turn your palms back to 12 o'clock position, the usual way you have them for all fours. Keep your toes tucked under. Lift your knees 1 inch off the mat. And we call this bear pose. So it looks like hands and knees. There's just about an inch or two at the most between the floor and your kneecaps. From bear pose, lift your hips up and press your heels down into down dog and really press away from your hands. So your feet shouldn't move where they are on the mat. We'll come back to bear, like you're going to set your knees down, but don't quite touch them. Keep your core engaged. Then press up to downward facing dog. And then we'll connect the breathing with this sequence. So inhale as you come down to bear, hover your knees off the mat. Exhale to press up and drop your heels down to down dog. We'll do 3 more breaths. Inhale, bear. Exhale, down dog. You should feel your shoulders stretching. 2 more. And up. 1 more time. Inhaling to bear. Exhaling to down dog and hold. Now really push away from your hands. So those arms are right alongside your ears. If you look to the left and right, you should be looking under your arm, not over your arm. If you're looking over your arm, your shoulders are not quite as far back as where they should be in this pose. So make those adjustments and take 2 more breaths. Feel a nice stretch in your calves, the backs of your ankles. 1 more breath in. And exhale, drop your knees back down to the mat. Press back to child's pose, but extended child. So drop your forehead down and really reach your fingertips way out towards the top of your mat. So we're going to move through a partial half series vinyasa, and this is going to work the triceps and stretch the wrists. So we'll inhale and come forward all the way through to kneeling plank. Drop the belly and lift the heart into a kneeling upward facing dog, just a nice back bend. And then press back into your child's pose. Inhale, come forward through your kneeling plank. Drop your hips any amount, lengthen. And then exhale, press back at your own pace. Now, if this bothers your low back to come into that up dog, you don't have to do the back bend. Just stay right here in neutral in that kneeling plank. And we'll do 2 more. Love that stretch for the hip flexors into that kneeling up dog. And 1 more time, draw forward, lengthen, and press back. Now on the next option, we'll come forward to that kneeling plank or up dog and keep your elbows really close to your waist as you lower yourself down to the mat. And then when you push yourself back up, you can press up in neutral or with a back bend, and then push yourself back to your child's pose. So I'll show you the option without the back bend, just coming forward to kneeling plank, neutral spine, lowering yourself down, pressing yourself back up in neutral, and then drawing back to child's pose. If you're doing the back bend, you want to keep your abdominals engaged, keep those muscles engaged in the front of the spine. And again, be really mindful of your low back with this and make sure it feels okay to come into spinal extension. We'll do 2 more repetitions. Elbows really close to the rib cage. And 1 more time. Back into your child's pose. Let's tuck our toes underneath, come back to downward facing dog again. We'll just be there briefly. This time pedaling out the feet. So bend the right knee, push the left heel down. And then switch, working on ankle flexibility. Broaden through the shoulder blades, opening up the armpits. And this is really good for people who might wear a dress shoe that has a little bit of a heel. Over time, when we're in heels a lot, it shortens those Achilles tendons, and we lose that flexibility in the calves, Achilles tendons, and even under the bottoms of the feet in the plantar fascia. Let's do one more on each leg. And then press both heels down nice and evenly. And then drop the knees back down to the mat. So we're going to come into a kneeling side plank. So the right knee comes forward just a little bit more, further from the left. And then take your left foot back behind you and turn it out. You can also kick your foot out to the right side a little bit and rotate out into side plank. Now, what's nice about kneeling side plank is if my wrists have had enough of being on my hands, you can activate your core and lift your body up a little bit and just float onto your fingertips or even completely come off of the mat. So you're still in a plank position, but you don't have that pressure into your wrists. And we'll just hold here 3 breaths, working on engagement of the core, the back muscles working, and the obliques. 2 more breaths. And on your last exhalation, pull yourself up to gate pose and side stretch your body the other direction. And then we're going to move back and forth between these 2 positions, bringing the right fingertips down. The left hand can be up, or you can even reach it further over your head to really get a nice stretch. Then pull yourself up, stretching the other direction. So there's a big kind of diamond-shaped muscle in our lower back. It kind of starts in the mid-back up to the thoracic spine. And this muscle, called the quadratus lumborum, is responsible for bending our body from side to side, and it also helps us to really stabilize our lower back. So this is a great exercise to keep that muscle strong and also to work on flexibility of the spine, bending side to side. Let's do 1 more each direction. And again, you don't have to put very much pressure on your fingertips. And then just come right back out to neutral right here. So we are going to bring our hands down in front of our body to the floor or to a block and drop your chest down, and you're bending your elbows and using them to guide you down towards the mat. So this is just a one-legged inner thigh hamstring stretch. Your elbows can come down to the floor, and we'll hold here. And you can adjust this. You might want to slide your left foot out a little further, turn your toes in, turn your toes out, whatever position feels good for you. And we'll hold here 3 more breaths. Maybe sink a little deeper, 2 more breaths. And last one, use the strength of your arms to press yourself up, walk back around, and come to your hands and knees. And we'll switch sides. So now the left knee is going to be in front. The right leg extends back. You can kick your ankle out to the side a little bit. Place your hand in the middle and open out into your side plank. And then find these muscles along the core and lift yourself up off of your hand just a little bit. If you feel like you need some pressure just to balance, that's okay. Or take your fingers completely off the floor and just hold and breathe. Now, ideally, our shoulders should be in the same plane. So we're not bending forward. We have the left or right shoulder stacked on top of the left. Same thing with your hips. Now we'll pull ourselves up and side stretch the opposite direction. Then going at your own pace, going back and forth. And that right hand can really lengthen close to the ear to accentuate that stretch, which feels so awesome. How are we feeling in the backyard, ladies? It feels wonderful. Oh, you can, every once in a while, you can give me a good groan. Oh, yeah, then I know I'm doing my job here. Oh, nice work. And just notice where you're feeling that stretch, and maybe even take a big, deep breath into that stretch by expanding through the ribs. And let's do one more each direction. Then coming right into the center, reach your hands down in front of you. If you're super tight, you might want to take that block along with you and use it here to support wherever you are, whatever height of the block that you'd like to use. Or come way on down, maybe the elbows come to the mat, maybe even the forehead gently. And if you want, you can slide that leg further away from you to really increase that inner thigh stretch. And we breathe and hold. Sink a little deeper, 2 more breaths. And on that last exhalation, use your arms to help press yourself up. Walk back into that hands and knees position. And we'll tuck our toes, lift the hips up, back into down dog. We've been on our knees for a while, so let's pedal out the feet again, bending one knee at a time, and that's going to start to move that fluid again through the joint. And one more on each leg. Then drop both heels down, hold. Now during this next sequence, if you need to come to your hands and knees to do this because of your wrists, I want you to feel comfortable to do that. Otherwise, we're going to come into 3-legged dog by lifting the right leg up. And if you look underneath you, I want you to look at your foot and make sure your toes are pointing down, not out to the side and turned. So you're nice and parallel. And point your foot and flex. Point and flex. This is almost like when we were moving our hands and using our wrists at 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And again, if you need to drop down to your left knee, that's okay, because this is mostly about working that ankle mobility. Now circle your ankle around slowly, drawing a big circle with your big toe. And then reverse that circle about 4 or 5 times around. And then as you inhale, lift that leg really as far up as you can lift it. Rotate your belly and bend your knee and push into that foot and open up your quad and hip flexor. And again, this can be done down onto your knee. That's absolutely fine. And we can stay as we are. Or some of you might like to flip your 3-legged down dog over into wild thing or in a back bend. So if that's the case, we're going to keep reaching that foot over until it finds the floor, and then extend up and lengthen into wild thing. Wherever you're at, 2 more breaths. If you flipped that down dog, bring it back over. Reach that leg up high. And then take a big step towards the top of your mat with your right foot. Plant your back foot, come up to warrior 1. We need a break for our hands and our wrists. So open those arms, pull the shoulder blades back, lift the heart, just a little bit of a baby back bend. Then bring the spine back up to neutral. Interlace your hands behind your back. Or you can also grab your yoga strap and hold it behind you, or place your hands on your hips. And then we are going to come into humble warrior. So start to drop the shoulder down towards the thigh. Let your head relax. Lift your arms up any amount from the backside of your body. And breathe. Now in this position, you can look at your back foot, your left foot. And I want you to try to create a little arch, a little tunnel in the inside arch of your foot. So in other words, make sure you're not rolling your arch down towards the mat. So push to the outside edge of your foot and create a little mouse hole underneath the arch of your foot. We'll take 2 more breaths here. 1 more breath. And then press into your front foot to bring yourself up, up, up. Release the clasp of the hands, extend and reach, or open the arms back out again to release through the pec muscles and the fronts of the shoulders. Take 1 more breath. Then exhale, reach your hands down to the mat and push yourself back into your down dog. Or you can come to hands and knees. So we'll lift the left leg up into 3-legged dog. Look underneath you to make sure your toes are pointing down. And then point and flex. So sometimes when we do this a little bit too vigorously, we'll get a cramp in our foot somewhere, or one of our toes will start to cramp. So the first few times you do a point and flex, just do it nice and easy so you don't cause a little muscle to cramp there. And then we'll circle the foot around, drawing a nice circle with the big toe. Make sure you're really pushing off of your hands and that you're also dropping your right heel down into the mat. And then we'll reverse, going the other direction. 4 or 5 circles. And then relax that, lift that leg up as high as you can. Bend your knee, rotate your hip so your belly starts to face towards that left side of your mat. And your foot is flexed. Push into the heel so you're tightening your glute. And you can remain here, or if you'd like to flip your dog, that foot keeps coming over, over, over to the outside of your mat as we come into Wild Thing. I don't know who named it Wild Thing. It's not my name for it. A lot of yoga teachers use that name for this movement. Nice stretch here. Wherever you're at, 2 more breaths. Then if you flipped that dog, take your time to come on back. Stretch that leg up nice and high, then take a big step towards the top of your mat. Plant the back foot. Come up into Warrior 1. Now we get to rest our wrists again. Come into chest expansion. Pull those shoulder blades back. Now if this bothers your back to back bend, then I want you to be more upright. Either way is wonderful. And then we'll clasp the hands behind the back, or grab your yoga strap, or put your hands on your hips. Now, if you're clasping your hands, I want you to change the way you usually clasp. We always do it the same way every time. So wherever you're at, put your other thumb on top and switch your fingers. Then roll those shoulders back, lift the arms up, and descend into Humble Warrior, dropping that left shoulder down. Lift the arms up as high as you can feel comfortable to stretch. And then look at your right foot and create space underneath your arch. Now, when I do that, it gives me a really nice stretch along the outside of my right lower leg. It's a muscle called peroneus longus, and it likes that when I try to lift my arch up, really lengthen. Make sure your head is relaxed. Maybe you can lift your arms up a little more. 2 more breaths. And on that second exhalation, push into your front leg to rise back up. Release the clasp of your hands. Come back up into a nice reach or your chest expansion. Drawing your shoulder blades together. 1 more breath. And then as you exhale, reach hands back down to your mat. Push back to plank as we work our core through stabilization. Now your plank can be from the balls of the feet, or you can drop your knees down. Either way is great. If your wrists are really struggling right now with all the work we've done on our hands, you can drop to your forearms. And we'll hold here and breathe. Nice straight alignment of the body. And then if you'd like to increase the intensity of this work, we're going to lift our right foot up a couple inches off the mat, open it out to the side and touch the floor outside of your mat, then bring it back in and set it down. The left foot lifts up, we open it out, touch the floor, bring it in, and set it down. This can be done from your knees, from your forearms. Abs are really engaged. Shoulder muscles are engaged. Chest muscles. 1 more on each leg. Then just hold your plank nice and steady. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees find the mat. Press back to child's pose. And you might want to bring your arms now close to the sides of your body and let your shoulders roll down towards the earth. And if you need a break for your wrists here, you can do some 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, stretching back and forth, or some light circles with the wrists. And then reach the hands way back out towards the top of your mat. Tuck the toes underneath once more into downward facing dog. Last time we'll be in our down dog pose. So I want you to really try to sink your heels way down into the mat. Press off of the hands. 2 more breaths. And then as you drop your knees, we'll take a wide knee child's pose. So really open the knees wide. Bring the big toes to touch and relax here. So we are going to do a little bit of a prep for an arm balance for our crow pose. And depending on your wrists and where you are with your practice, you can do whatever you would like for this pose. Now, sometimes when you're learning crow pose, it's nice to have a big pillow that you can put underneath your head or your block. So if you're going to use that, you can take your blanket here, fold it up a couple of times, and have it out ahead of you just in case you rock forward onto your forehead. So from our wide-kneed child's pose, place your hands firmly into the mat, tuck your toes underneath, and walk your feet towards you, and open those knees nice and wide. Now today you might say, ooh, this is all I'm going to do today because I'm really working on building strength in my upper body, and my wrists are feeling a little tender. So all we're going to do is rock forward and rock back. Rock forward and rock back. If this is too much for your knees also, if you can't bend them this deeply, you can just bring your knees down to the mat and rock forward and back. So you can stay with this if you'd like, or rock forward as far as you can and see if you can lift one foot off the mat. Then set it down and rock back. Rock forward, lift the other foot off the mat, and rock back. And just alternate sides. Now this is really working your tricep muscles. Your elbows are bent, and the insides of your legs are kind of pressing against the outsides of your arms. Now we're going to take one more each side, or if you'd like to try to lift both feet off the floor, rock yourself forward and see if you can lift both feet up. And then you can set them down and try it again. So you might be just lifting up for a half a second and coming down. And it also depends on if you put your body oil on today after you took a shower. Because I'm rocking forward, I'm like, oh, my legs are sliding off. I'm not getting a good grip. Let's do one more. And then come down. Press your legs up to a forward fold. Grab opposite elbows and hang in ragdoll. Woo! We haven't done any arm balance education in a really long time. So we'll relax those wrists and hang in that forward fold. That kind of picked up my heart rate a little bit too. Okay, now we're going to come into a little bit more focused core work. So come on down onto your mat seated. I'm going to take my little cushion here to sit on. And we will work on boat pose. So with boat pose, we have to find where our sitting bones are and kind of slightly sit back behind our sitting bones. So we're not right on top of them. They're slightly underneath us and forward. We're just going to lean our body back until we feel our core says, oh yes, I'm really supporting, and the spine is lengthened. Now you might want to hold behind your legs, or keep your hands on the mat, or keep your feet on the mat, or let your feet start to lift up. And maybe you can straighten your legs up. Maybe your knees stay bent. The arms can let go. Wherever you are, we'll hold and breathe. And I feel those muscles shaking this morning. Now create a nice long neck. So try not to drop your chin, because when you're leaning back, you want to have that same position, that neutral cervical alignment. If your feet need to come down, that's okay. We'll twist to the right side as far as you can and hold. Come back to the center. Twist to the left side as far as you can and hold. And come back to the center. Let's hold 2 more breaths. Then let your feet come down. Extend your legs out straight. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. So if you felt any tension in your lower back doing that boat pose, it's pretty common, because when the knees are bent and up, the hip flexors really switch on, and those are attached back onto your lumbar spine. So sometimes just the work of the hip flexors will increase tension in the lower back. So we want to stretch that lumbar spine out. So roll yourself down onto your back. You can either roll to your side first and then turn over, or you can just guide yourself down nice and easy. And then hug your right knee up into your chest. Your head can stay on the mat, or you can curl your head and shoulders up towards your knee. And we'll flex the foot and point. And again, not too vigorously so you don't cause a cramp to happen in your toe or in your foot, but still working on mobility of that ankle. Pressing your lower back down into the mat. Now, if your head is up off the floor, relax it back down. And then extend your leg up as straight as you can get it. Get that hamstring stretch and flex and point. So this is a big focus today, is to work on the mobility of our ankle and of our wrist, but while we're doing that, to strengthen the muscles. So when we flex, notice that you're tensing through that shin muscle, and then as you point, you're working your calf muscle. Now flex and hold. If you want to use your yoga strap, we're going to be here for a little bit, so you can loop it under the bottom of your foot, or you can just pull that leg in closer to you. You can also use what we call the Yogi Toe Lock, which is to take your first two fingers, your peace fingers, slide them between your first toe and your second toe, and then close your thumb over the top and hold. Now, if you're doing the Yogi Toe Lock, be sure you're not pulling on your toe, because that can cause some strain in that joint. So you're still keeping your toe nice and neutral as you're pulling this stretch down. And let's take 2 more breaths. Now, either with your strap or that Yogi Toe Lock, start to open that leg out to the side any amount. Get that inner thigh to release. Your left hand can open out to the side just to counterbalance your body so you don't rock over onto your side or onto your right glute. And then bring that leg back up to the midline. If you're using your strap, release it and set your right leg down to the mat. Hug your left knee right into your chest. Option to curl your head and shoulders up off the mat. Push your lower back down, and with the ankle, point and flex. Now scoop your navel towards your spine so you slightly feel your abdominals engaging here. And then if your head is off the mat, we'll set it down, extend your leg up as straight as you can comfortably lengthen it, and then we'll point and flex. So while the calf muscle stretches, the shin muscle strengthens, the anterior tibialis muscle. And that muscle in the front of our shin tends to get really weak because most of what we do in life, walking around during the day, works our calf muscle. So we want to strengthen the front of the shin, because when it's strong, then when we walk, we can pick our foot up easily, and there's less of an opportunity for us to stub our toe on the floor or to trip. And we'll keep ourselves from getting what we call foot drop. All right, hold that foot flexed. If you want to use your yoga strap, loop it under the bottom of your foot, or pull your leg in closer, or create your Yogi Toe Lock. Peace fingers slide through the big toe and the second toe, thumb loops over the top, and hold that stretch. Eyes can be closed. Slow your breath in and out through your nose. Relax the back of the leg. If it starts to shake, then take a break on the stretch, relax, and then slowly come back in and find your edge. And then start to slowly open that leg out to the side. Hold here. Right arm can counterbalance. And then bring your leg back to the midline. Release the strap. Bring both knees to tabletop. So going back into core work, I want you to reach your hands out to the top of your thighs. And when you're doing this exercise, keep those arms straight and try not to let your knees to come in toward your body. Now I want you to just push your legs into your hands and your hands into your legs and press your low back down onto the mat. Now this should feel like work, because if you're doing it correctly, it is definitely a lot of work through your abs. Try not to tense your shoulders up. You're just driving your legs towards the palm of your hands and pushing back against that intensity. And then keep trying to press your low back down into the floor. Keep breathing. 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let your feet come down to the mat and relax. So we're going to move on from this. And if for some reason it's too intense, you can do one leg. You can set the other foot down onto the floor. That's absolutely fine. So we'll come back into that position, hands against the thighs, push your legs towards your hands. And then as you hold this, just send the right leg away and just tap it to your right hand. Right leg goes away and tap it. And make sure you're still pressing in with the left side and pushing your low back down to the mat. We'll do 3 more. Reach it away. Bring it in. 2. You're breathing. 1 more. And bring it in. Take a break. Feet come down. In our break, we'll press the feet into the mat and come up into bridge 3 times. Roll up and roll down. 2 more. Roll up and down. Last one. Lift and roll down. Come back to table. Press your thighs into your hands. Push your lower back down into the mat. Now your left leg moves away and taps in. Moves away and in. Still pressing your right thigh into that right palm. Still pressing your low back down. 3 more reps. Ooh, are we feeling this in the backyard? Me too. 2 more. And 1 more. Bring it in and set the feet down. You have 3 bridges. Roll up and roll down. So we're just mobilizing the spine here, releasing that work into the abdominals. 1 more. All right, one last time in that all tabletop position, push your legs into your hands. I'm going to give you 2 options. You can alternate legs, the right leg going away and coming in, and the left leg going away and coming in, or both legs going away and coming in. Press into your hands and away and in. 4 more, either 2 on each leg or 4 with both. 3. Keep pressing your low back down. 2. And 1. Feet come down to the mat. 1 bridge to hold. So roll your spine up and stay here several breaths. Now, if you'd like, you can interlace your hands behind your back. Rock those shoulder blades towards each other. Lift the heart a little more, or walk the feet in closer towards your hips. And really open up through your hip flexors and let your abdominals relax You're firing your glutes to lift those hips up, pressing down into all four corners of the feet. Let's take 2 more breaths here in our bridge. Make sure that your chin is well away from your sternum. And 1 more breath. Then separate those hands. Separate your shoulder blades. Roll down 1 vertebra at a time. Then bring your knees in towards your chest. You can also take happy baby. So separate those knees a little bit. Reach the arms inside the knees, but outside of the feet. And then lift the soles of your feet straight up towards the ceiling. Press your low back down into the mat and pull with your arms to pull your knees towards the outside of your armpits. You can rock a little bit side to side just to massage that lower back. Just a couple more breaths holding here. A nice release for the lumbar spine. And then release the feet. Take your legs straight up, legs up the wall position. And then we're going to do really fast, rapid ankle pumps. So we're not thinking about the point. What we're thinking about is the flex. So we're going to go flex, 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 flex. And all we're doing is working the front of the shin each time. So you flex, release, flex, release, flex, release. This gives us several benefits. We're strengthening that anterior tibialis. We're also lengthening our calf and our Achilles tendon. And we're allowing blood to be pumped from the lower extremity down the legs towards our heart. So it's great for venous return. Let's do about 25 more. 3, 4, 5. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 1, 2, 3. Owie, 4, 5. We have 10 more. 9, 8, 7. Flex. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax the feet. Lower the legs down and transition to a seated position. You can either roll yourself up or roll over to your side and press yourself up. Ooh! Joanne's like, yeah, did you guys feel that? That's a good thing. We can rub it out. Okay, just come to a nice, comfortable cross-leg position. You can sit onto your blanket if you'd like. And lengthen the spine nice and tall. Keep those shoulder blades pressed back. We're just going to lengthen the neck by tipping the right ear towards the right shoulder. Now, if you'd like, you can bring your right arm up and over towards your left ear, and I'm not really pulling hard. I'm just creating a little bit of weight on the outside of my head so I can get a little bit more stretch. And then with the muscle of your lat, try to push your left shoulder down. And that is a great stretch. Now, keeping the stretch in place, just slightly turn your head so your chin is coming to look down under your right armpit. And 1 more breath. Woo! Bring that head back to center. Release the hand and come up. Now just tip the left ear towards the left shoulder. Option to give yourself just a little bit of gentle weight here. And then use the muscle in your lat to press your shoulder down, creating dynamic tension. And then we'll slowly just turn the head so the chin comes down toward the left armpit. 1 more breath. And then bring the head back to neutral. Release the arm. Now both fingertips will come behind the base of the skull. As you inhale, open your elbows out a little farther. As you exhale, drop your chin and try to touch your elbows together. Inhale to open. And I'm not pulling on my head, but I am creating a little bit of weight to stretch the back of the neck. Just 2 more repetitions. One more time. Open. And close. Then open those elbows out. Lengthen your arms. Inhale, stretch up. Press the palms. And exhale to heart center. So we take a moment here just to pause and reflect on your practice today. We express our gratitude and honor for this opportunity to practice both in person here, poolside, and from the comfort of our own homes or later on YouTube. I don't take that lightly. I am so grateful for all of you, and may the light and love and peace that resides within me honor the light, love, and peace in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll turn our recording off. I'll go inside and say hello. Fern, are you swimming? All right. Joanne? Okay. All right. Well, I'll say my goodbyes just in case you scoot before I come back out. So honored to have you with me today. Enjoy, Fern. I'll be out in just a minute or two. It's always really hard to see this out here, to shut my recording off. You know what? I think I'm going to...
That was a workout.
That was tough for me.
Yeah, it was nice. It found some other new areas again, you know?
I know.
Yeah.
She thinks of areas that I never think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that lifting the knees up an inch, that was, couldn't hardly do that.
Yeah.
Off today, guys. All right. My recording is still on. I think it's because my my internet isn't plugged in here in the house. How do we feel?
Fantastic.
Good.
Pretty good.
Joyce, was that the core work you wanted today?
Yeah, and I got there. I had my dryer was getting fixed, so I missed part of it. But I got here in time for core work, Lisa.
Oh, good. Good. Well,
My dryer works now. So.
That's important. Well, good. That was just for you and for all of us too, because man, we needed that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh,
So I see Esther there. You are with me too. How did that feel today?
I am. We were saying before you got on that you think of areas and muscles and parts of our bodies that we just never give any thought to.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'm so lucky. I've been doing this long enough. I don't really have to do much preparation. It's somehow, I don't know how it works, but it comes to me in the moment.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just a combination of experience doing this for so many years at age 62, doing this for over 30 years, and just, I don't know, just a feel for it and little bit of a gift, I guess. So yeah. I'm glad that it works for you guys.
You are gifted. That's all right.
Because I kind of fly by the seat of my pants, which
well, it doesn't seem so.
Yeah.
You're taking us for a good ride, nonetheless.
Oh, well, that is good. I'm so glad to hear it, David.
Yeah.
All right.
Very
Well, I
much.
hope you join me tomorrow to get our heart rates up, get a little bit of cardio and strength training and some good stretching and some balance thrown in for good measure.
Very
I
good.
won't be on tomorrow, but
Okay. No
Yeah.
worries. I'll have it posted for you that you can go back at any time and watch.
thanks, Lisa.
All right.
All right.
Mwah. My pleasure. Have
See
a
ya.
good day,
Bye.
everybody.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Mhm.